On August 22, 2021, a wedding night meant for whispered vows and tender promises erupted into a grotesque tableau of vengeance. Alice Burkimps, a luminous social media influencer, clutched gleaming scissors in her Alabama villa suite, her heart a furnace of betrayal. Just moments before, she'd stumbled upon a scene that obliterated her world. Her new husband, Benjamin Gathro, locked in a forbidden embrace with his magnetic cousin Mason, defiling their sacred union. Consumed by a primal inferno of rage, Alice struck with merciless precision, slicing away Benjamin's manhood in a savage act that left him convulsing in a crimson tide, his screams echoing through the opulent villa. Her icy 911 call, "I just cut off my husband's manhood. Come get him before he bleeds out," unleashed a maelstrom of hashtag honeymoon betrayal and hashtag bride justice across TikTok and Instagram, riveting a small town and beyond. What fuels a bride to unleash such carnage? Is this retribution for a shattered heart or a chilling descent into madness? Dive into a true crime odyssey of infidelity, revenge, and fractured love that will haunt your thoughts. The villa's lawn shimmered under a cascade of candlelight where the scent of jasmine mingled with the hum of a local Alabama band. Guests swirled in a celebration dance, their laughter weaving a tapestry of joy around Alice Burkimps, 29, a social media influencer whose ivory gown caught the glow of twilight. Her smile, bright as the stars above, met the steady gaze of Benjamin Gathro, 32, a banker whose polished charm drew every eye. Their wedding, an Alabama masterpiece of velvet drapes and blooming magnolias, promised a love eternal. As Benjamin's voice carried vows of unwavering devotion, tears glistened on cheeks, and the crowd believed they were witnessing a storybook beginning. But beneath the enchantment, a quiet unease stirred. Alice, her influencer career rocked by a recent job loss, had spent months in therapy, haunted by past betrayals and Benjamin's elusive habits, late-night calls, guarded glances. She'd buried her doubts, choosing to trust the man who seemed her perfect match. Benjamin, revered in Alabama's financial circles, wore his charisma-like armor, concealing truths even from those closest. His cousin and best man, Mason, a magnetic figure with a smile that disarmed, shared a bond with Benjamin that felt too intimate, too unspoken. At the reception, Mason's toast lingered, his eyes catching Benjamin's in a way that pricked Alice's heart. The night unfolded in a blur of clinking glasses and swaying bodies, the villa's halls alive with the pulse of celebration. Alice and Benjamin danced, her laughter a fragile shield against a growing disquiet. Had she imagined Benjamin's distracted touch? Did Mason's knowing nod carry a hidden weight? No one else noticed, too swept up in the revelry, but the air held a charge, as if the villa itself sensed the fault lines beneath. In their honeymoon suite, Alice slipped into a silk robe, the weight of the day settling like dusk. Benjamin's brief kiss, his hand clutching his phone as he stepped out, left her staring at the rose-strewn bed, a flicker of doubt igniting. This night, meant to seal a lifetime, stood on the edge of a chasm. A single revelation waited, poised to unravel the vows still warm on their lips, thrusting a small town into a storm of shock and retribution. The villa's glow masked a darkness that would soon spill forth, redefining love and loyalty in a way no one could foresee. The villa's honeymoon suite, bathed in the flicker of candles, felt like a hollow stage as Alice stood alone. Rose petals lay scattered across the bed, their sweetness mocked by the absence of Benjamin, who'd slipped away with a vague excuse, his phone a constant shadow in his grip. Her silk robe clung to her skin, cool against the heat of her rising unease. Months of buried suspicions, cryptic texts between Benjamin and Mason, dismissed as paranoia, clawed their way to the surface. Therapy had taught Alice to quiet the echoes of past betrayals, but now, in the silence, those lessons faltered. Benjamin, a pillar of Alabama's banking world, carried a charm that captivated yet distanced. His success was a polished facade, hiding a guarded core that even Alice struggled to pierce. Mason, his cousin and best man, was his mirror, a man whose easy warmth and striking presence won hearts effortlessly. Their closeness, a constant in Benjamin's life, had once seemed a comfort to Alice, but now it gnawed at her. At the reception, she'd caught Mason's gaze, a fleeting intensity that lingered on Benjamin, stirring a doubt she couldn't name. Stepping into the villa's hushed hallway, Alice felt the plush carpet beneath her bare feet, each step amplifying the thud of her pulse. The wedding's joy had faded. Guests retreated to their rooms, leaving only a faint murmur from a distant suite. Her breath sharpened as Benjamin's voice, low and intimate, drifted through the air, a tone meant for her, now shared with another. Mason's laughter, soft and knowing, wove into the sound, twisting the knife of suspicion deeper. The villa's walls, once alive with celebration, now seemed to close in, holding a truth that threatened to shatter everything. Her hand hovered over the guest room's doorknob, trembling with the weight of what lay beyond. Fear and fury battled within her, urging her to turn back, but the pull of betrayal was stronger. What she was about to uncover would tear through the vows still fresh on her lips, setting a course for a crime that would echo through Alabama's heart. The night, once a canvas of dreams, was now a prelude to a reckoning that would demand answers and blood. A door creaked in the Alabama villa's shadowed hallway, its sound slicing through the stillness like a warning unheeded. Alice Burkimp stood frozen, her hand trembling on the guest room's knob, the murmur of Benjamin Gathrow's voice, intimate, stolen, searing her heart. Beyond the threshold lay a truth she'd sensed but never dared name. Her pulse roared, drowning out the echoes of wedding vows still fresh as she pushed the door open. The sight before her was a dagger to her soul. Benjamin, her husband of hours, entwined with his cousin Mason, their bodies a tableau of forbidden passion. The air was choked with betrayal, and Alice's world crumbled, her love replaced by a molten rage forged from past wounds and shattered trust. Her breath hitched, eyes burning with the sting of infidelity. Benjamin's gaze met hers, wide with shock, but Mason's fleeting smirk fueled her fury. Without a word, Alice turned, her bare feet pounding back to the honeymoon suite. The villa's opulent calm mocked her as she reached the makeup desk, her fingers closing around a pair of scissors, their cold steel a mirror to her resolve. Therapy sessions, where she'd wrestled with old betrayals, faded against this new wound. She wasn't the Alice who danced under magnolias. She was a force, unstoppable, driven by a primal need to reclaim her dignity. Back in the guest room, the door swung wide, slamming against the wall. Benjamin scrambled to his feet, words tumbling in a desperate plea, but Alice's vision narrowed to the scissors' gleam. Mason bolted, his footsteps fading into the villa's depths, leaving Benjamin alone to face her wrath. Her scream, raw and ancient, tore through the silence as she lunged. The scissors flashed, a single, precise strike severing Benjamin's manhood, his agonized cry shattering the night. Blood sprayed, pooling on the hardwood, a stark contrast to the villa's pristine elegance. Alice stood, chest heaving, the weight of her act settling like ash. The villa, once a haven of celebration, now cradled a crime that would haunt Alabama's quiet streets. Benjamin collapsed, clutching the wound, his face a mask of horror. Alice's rage ebbed, replaced by a chilling clarity. She reached for the phone, her voice steady as she dialed 911. "I just cut off my husband's manhood. Come get him before he bleeds out." The operator's silence mirrored the rooms, broken only by Benjamin's labored gasps. Sirens wailed in the distance, their promise of justice, or judgment, closing in. A small town stood on the brink of a scandal that would redefine loyalty and retribution, its heart beating with the pulse of a crime yet to be fully unveiled. The villa's polished floors, stained with blood, reflected the chaos that had erupted in its heart. Benjamin Gathrow lay curled on the hardwood, his hands slick with crimson, each shallow breath a battle against shock. The scissors, discarded beside him, glinted in the dim light, a silent witness to Alice Burkimp's vengeance. Her silhouette loomed in the guest room, her silk robe now flecked with red, her eyes hollow as she surveyed the wreckage of her wedding night. The Alabama air, thick with the iron tang of blood, carried the weight of a crime that had transformed a fairy tale union into a nightmare etched in violence. Police stormed the villa, their boots thudding against the elegant halls, flashlights cutting through the candlelit haze. Officers froze at the sight, Benjamin's crumpled form, the blood-soaked floor, Alice's unflinching calm. "Hands up," they barked, but she complied without resistance, her face unreadable as cuffs snapped around her wrists. Paramedics rushed to Benjamin, their voices clipped, hands moving to staunch the flow that threatened his life. The villa's grandeur, once a backdrop for love, now framed a crime scene that would sear itself into Alabama's memory, its walls whispering of infidelity and retribution. Outside, squad cars bathed the villa in red and blue, their sirens a wail that woke the sleeping town. Benjamin was stretchered away, his survival uncertain, his body ravaged by a wound that surgery would struggle to mend. Alice, led through a gauntlet of stunned hotel staff and early rising guests, stared ahead, her silence louder than any confession. The small town buzzed as news spread, whispers of #honeymoon betrayal igniting social media. TikTok and Instagram buzzed with speculation, some calling Alice a victim of heartbreak, others branding her a monster. Mason, the catalyst of this chaos, had vanished into the night, his absence a spark for further intrigue. The crime's ripples reached beyond the villa, pulling a community into a maelstrom of debate over love, loyalty, and justice. Benjamin's fate hung in the balance, his charm now a distant memory against the brutality he'd endured. Alice, locked in a cell, faced a reckoning that would unfold in a courtroom where truths would clash and futures would be decided. The villa stood silent, its blood-stained floors a testament to a night that had changed everything, setting the stage for a trial that would grip Alabama and beyond, with its raw, unyielding questions of right and wrong. Whispers raced through Alabama's quiet streets, faster than the sirens that had pierced the villa's night. The blood-stained crime scene, once a private horror, now fueled a public frenzy that gripped the small town and beyond. Alice Burkemps's act, severing Benjamin Gathrow's manhood with a single brutal strike, had ignited a firestorm on TikTok and Instagram, where honeymoon betrayal trended, clips of the villa's exterior looping alongside heated debates. Content creators dissected the scandal in live streams, some hailing Alice as a scorned woman reclaiming her power, others condemning her as a heartless avenger. Local news vans clogged the town's main square, their cameras hungry for a glimpse of the story that had shattered a fairy tale wedding. Benjamin, whisked to a hospital under flashing lights, clung to life as surgeons battled to repair the irreparable. The wound, too severe, left him permanently scarred, his once assured charm buried under pain and shame. His survival was a miracle, but the cost was a future forever altered, his banker's poise no match for the whispers that followed. Mason, the cousin whose betrayal had sparked the violence, had fled into the night, his magnetic charm now a fugitive's burden. Weeks later, authorities tracked him to a neighboring state, charging him as an accessory to aggravated assault for his role in the affair that ignited Alice's rage. A judge sentenced him to 3 years, with parole possible after 2, but his absence only deepened the town's fascination. Alice, confined in a stark cell, became a paradox. A social media influencer turned pariah, her radiant wedding photos now juxtaposed with mugshots. Her silence spoke louder than any defense. Her calm during arrest replayed in every news segment. The town's churches buzzed with sermons on forgiveness and vengeance, while coffee shops hummed with theories. Was she a victim of Benjamin's infidelity, pushed past her breaking point by a cousin's betrayal? Or had she calculated her revenge, scissors in hand, to ensure he'd never forget? Social media amplified the divide, with Instagram polls pitting sympathy against outrage, each post peeling back layers of a crime that refused easy answers. The villa, shuttered and silent, stood as a monument to the night that had changed everything. Its blood-soaked floors, now cleaned, couldn't erase the echoes of a crime that had thrust Alabama into the national spotlight. As the town grappled with its new infamy, a courtroom loomed, poised to unravel the tangled threads of love, loyalty, and retribution. The scandal's grip tightened, promising revelations that would challenge every assumption and draw the world deeper into a story where justice remained an elusive shadow. A gavel's echo cut through the Alabama courthouse, its wooden pews packed with townsfolk clutching whispered theories. Alice Burkimps sat at the defense table, her gray suit a stark contrast to the ivory gown of her wedding night, her face a mask of quiet resolve. The trial, a crucible for a crime that had riveted the nation, drew eyes from every corner, reporters scribbling, cameras humming, locals leaning forward. Benjamin Gathro watched from the gallery, his once commanding presence diminished, his scars hidden, but ever present. The air crackled with anticipation, as if the villa's blood-stained night had followed them into this hallowed space. Edwin Blank, Alice's high-profile defense attorney, rose with measured grace, his voice a steady anchor. "This case isn't just violence, it's betrayal's cruel toll," he declared, painting Alice as a woman broken by infidelity. He wove a narrative of her therapy, where she'd grappled with past betrayals, and the cryptic messages between Benjamin and Mason she'd dismissed as paranoia. The final blow, finding her husband with his cousin, had, Blank argued, plunged her into a fleeting madness, her scissors a desperate act of pain, not malice. The jury leaned in, some nodding, as he framed Alice as a victim of a love turned treacherous. Patricia Dante, the lead prosecutor, countered with a scalpel's precision. This was no impulse, she insisted, her words slicing through Blank's defense. She pointed to the scissors' deliberate choice, the strike's chilling accuracy, as proof of calculated revenge. Dante leaned into Alice's trauma, not to excuse, but to question. Had her pain masked a deeper instability? Forensic reports bolstered her case, detailing the wound's precision, a cut meant to maim. The courtroom stilled as she displayed the scissors, their steel glinting under fluorescent lights, a silent accusation that hung heavy over the proceedings. The trial unfolded as a battle of truths, each side peeling back layers of a night that had left a town divided. Witnesses, therapists, villa staff added texture, their testimonies clashing like storm clouds. Benjamin's silence from the gallery spoke volumes, his pain a specter in every argument. Mason, now imprisoned, loomed as a ghost, his role dissected but unresolved. As the jury prepared to deliberate, the courthouse held its breath, the weight of justice poised to reshape lives and legacies. Alabama watched, its heart tethered to a verdict that would echo far beyond the villa's walls, a story of betrayal and retribution still unfolding. A hush fell over the Alabama courthouse, heavy as the oak doors that sealed its chambers. The jury filed in, their faces taut with the burden of decision, as Alice Burkimps sat motionless, her gray suit a stark reminder of the wedding gown, now a distant memory. Benjamin Gathro, his presence in the gallery, a quiet shadow, watched with eyes that held both pain and resolve. 3 days of deliberation had stretched the town's nerves thin, each moment weighed by the memory of a villa's blood-stained night. The judge's gavel struck, and the verdict landed like a thunderclap, guilty of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Gasps rippled through the pews, but Alice's expression remained unyielding, a fortress against the storm. The sentencing phase unfolded with a twist that stunned the crowd. The judge, a veteran of Alabama's courts, peered over his glasses, his voice measured. Citing Alice's emotional trauma, born of Benjamin's infidelity with his cousin Mason, he rejected the prosecution's call for a decade-long sentence. Instead, he handed down 5 years, with parole eligibility after 3, a decision that sparked murmurs of outrage and relief. Alice nodded, her silence a canvas for the town's divided heart. Benjamin's gaze lingered on her, his scars a silent testament to a wound no verdict could heal. The courtroom emptied, but the echoes of justice lingered. Alice was led away, her cuffs clinking softly, while Benjamin slipped into the crowd, his banker's poise shattered by a body forever changed. Mason, serving his 3-year sentence for accessory to aggravated assault, remained a distant figure, his role in the betrayal dissected in whispers. The villa's crime scene, now a faded headline, had left a permanent mark on Alabama, its story fueling coffee shop debates and church sermons. Social media, still abuzz with #HoneymoonBetrayal, churned with reactions. Some saw Alice as a woman broken, others as a calculated avenger. The verdict, meant to close a chapter, only deepened the mystery. Had justice balanced the scales of betrayal and retribution, or had it faltered under the weight of human pain? Alabama's quiet streets braced for the next act as Alice's prison cell and Benjamin's fractured life set the stage for transformations no one could predict. The courthouse, its walls steeped in the trial's intensity, stood as a sentinel, guarding a story that refused to fade, its truths still unfolding in the shadows of a town forever changed. Footsteps echoed in a prison corridor, their rhythm marking the passage of years. Alice Burkimps emerged from her cell after 3 years, her parole a quiet release from the Alabama penitentiary that had held her since the villa's bloody night. The woman who'd once captivated social media as an influencer now carried a different weight. Her memoir, Shattered Vows, a raw recounting of betrayal and its cost. She stepped into a new state, her past a shadow she refused to flee. Reinventing herself as an advocate, Alice spoke to women trapped by infidelity, urging them to seek healing without violence, her voice steady yet haunted. Rumors swirled that she still wore her wedding ring, a silent tether to a night that redefined her. Benjamin Gathro, meanwhile, lived in a quieter exile. The banker's charm that once lit up Alabama's financial circles had dimmed, his body bearing scars no surgery could mend. Multiple operations had failed to restore what Alice's scissors had taken, leaving him without the hope of fatherhood. He shunned the public eye, retreating to a life where TikTok memes and Instagram taunts couldn't reach. The town's pity, as sharp as its judgment, followed him, a reminder of a betrayal that had cost him everything. Mason, released on parole after 2 years, vanished entirely. Some said he fled abroad, others that he forged a new identity, his once magnetic presence now a ghost in Alabama's memory. The villa, its doors locked and windows dark, stood as a relic of a crime that had gripped a nation. Alabama's small-town rhythm had shifted, its people forever marked by a story that challenged notions of love and loyalty. Social media, though quieter now, still flickered with debates over justice. Was Alice's sentence too lenient, or had Benjamin's infidelity justified her rage? Her advocacy work sparked new conversations, her memoir a bestseller that peeled back the layers of a night no one could forget. The town's churches and diners buzzed with reflections, each voice adding to a tapestry of unresolved truths. As Alice built a new life and Benjamin grappled with his losses, the crime's legacy endured. The courthouse, the villa, the blood-stained scissors, they wove a narrative that lingered in Alabama's heart, a cautionary tale of trust betrayed and retribution exacted. The story, though closed in the eyes of the law, lived on in the whispers of a town and the pages of a memoir, its final chapters unwritten, its impact a flame that refused to die. If this case gripped you like it did us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a twist. Your support helps us uncover stories that demand to be told.